Creating your own reality. Is it possible for me? I am Jennifer K. Hill, the Consciousness Architect, and I am here to tell you that it's not only possible, it's closer than you might think. Welcome to the show. Hello, friends, and welcome back for another episode of Regarding Consciousness. It is always a pleasure to be with you. I'm so grateful that you're tuning in wherever and whenever in the world that you're joining us. We focus this show on thought leaders, wisdom keepers, and authors and scientists from around the world sharing wisdom that can help us uplift our own consciousness. Today, I'm grateful to share with you the wisdom of an incredible woman who I had the privilege and honor of meeting a few years ago, actually, when we were in the middle of doing something called the Coalition for Global Unity. Pari Patri and her father, Patriji, are part of the Pyramid Spiritual Society movement. And several years ago, when we were doing this coalition of 52 weeks of global meditations around the world with thought leaders, Pari and her father had reached out to see about featuring some of the work that they had done. And quite frankly, I was awestruck by it. I found out that the Pyramid Spiritual Society movement had built over 22,000 pyramids throughout India. And I had the privilege and honor of visiting about 30 or 40 of those pyramids when I was with Pari in India this last December. And it was really an extraordinary time being with her. They put on these events several times a year, but one in particular that I got to attend with over 1 million people attending from all over India and other parts of the world. So a little bit about Pari and who she is and what she's contributing to the world. Pari is a thought leader, a mindset leader, a vibrational layering expert, and a mompreneur, as well as someone who can find magic in the most mundane things. Professionally, Pari is an executive empowerment coach, certified heart math trainer, corporate stress management and resilience trainer, biofeed practitioner, pyramidologist, meditation leader, and spiritual scientist. She has worked with over 60 one-on-one clients from around the world and has addressed gatherings of over 1 million people at a time, where people have seen a drastic shift in their reality. Pari, it was extraordinary getting to be with you in India. Thank you again for having me, and I'm so grateful to be able to have you share your wisdom with our audience today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for this opportunity. It's such a pleasure to always be in your presence and talk to you.
Pari, it was such a pleasure being with you in India in December, and I'm so grateful for the work that you and your family have done. Do share with us a little bit about how it was that you came to be on this inspirational path of helping transform the lives of millions of people around the world.
Thank you for that question, Jennifer. To share about the journey, yes, today I'm loving doing what I love, traveling, meeting wonderful people just like you, transforming the world. But the story didn't start that way. So I grew up in India in a very middle class family where probably the most of the focus was on getting education, survival, getting through life, worshiping God, temples. This was what I was surrounded with in my family. But somehow my father, he had his awakening in 1970s. And that's when he started to lean towards his purpose, that is to teach meditation. And he started his journey in that way. At that point in 80s, I believe, or 80s and 90s, the only way we could learn any information is through books, is through reading books. That was the only way we have. So he was an ardent reader. He would read, and he would get all these secondhand books that we would get in on the roads in India. So he would go to spend his time finding the books, and that's how he got into a lot of the material, like safe material, whether it is Osho, Bringers of the Dawn, the Pyramid Power. He was fascinated by the book Pyramid Power. And that's how he started learning more about meditation and pyramids coming together. And since then, he has resigned. In 90s, he resigned his job and he dedicated his life to teach meditation. So since I probably knew this world, all I knew was that we create our reality. The principle that he is leaned is that we are gods and we are masters and we create our own reality. So it's be a master, be a light unto yourself. There's nothing external of you that you would seek. So this is the mindset that I grew up in. So we never, my family would not go to temples to worship. Rather, we sit there and meditate. And this is how I knew about life. Our dinner conversations would be talking about, okay, what was your past life? This is my past life. Which dimension or which world did you travel in it today in your meditation? So this was our conversation. So that's what I knew. And my friends at that point were also all meditators, all spiritual. So I never really knew that it was something different. Not it's not an ordinary situation. Until I went to college, until I came to US in 2004, that's when I was like, okay, you know what? Not everybody believes in what I do. Not everybody thinks that we create our reality. And also at that point, I was what, 20 years old, and I wanted to be loved, accepted, be a part of this new adventurous group of society, America. I was so amazed to be belonged. And so I said, maybe what I heard or what I grew up on was not the truth. Maybe if we have to get success, we have to accept that it is not easy, that life is a struggle. We have to work hard. Because the other reason was also when I was growing up, money wasn't part of our life because he did it for free. Until his end, he always taught it for free. So money was we. I grew up. We had food on our place. I went to school because somebody gave us the donations. It was somebody gave us a charity. So my belief against money was money and spirituality won't go together. So why bother? I want to be successful. I want all the luxurious things as my cousins do. So maybe I have to struggle in life. Maybe I have to work hard, do what I don't love in life. And that's what I accepted. The environment shifted and I said yes to all those belief systems. And slowly and gradually, it was not an overnight shift. Slowly, gradually, I started living in fear. I became a people pleaser. I would say yes to what others want to hear. And slowly, of course, I manifested a job or what the success in everyday society would think. Yes, I was growing up. I was climbing up the ladder in the corporate world. But somehow I was losing myself, my authentic self. And I was getting a lot of migraines, shoulder pains, thyroid issues, every chronic issue started coming up. I never had all those issues. So that's when I was like, okay, something. And I never really enjoyed my social life. The conversations were like very shallow. I was like, I, this is not what I want. This is not touching my soul. And I didn't know what I wanted. I was totally lost. I knew this was not what I wanted, but I didn't know what I wanted. So I was in that rock bottom. And at that point, although I was believing, I didn't have 1 ounce of confidence of teaching meditation or talking about meditation. I would be like, I don't want people to think I'm crazy. So I would not talk about it. From there to really when I hit my rock bottom, that is when I decided, because deep inside me, I know I can change my reality. I know I can create it. And that's when I decided, okay, what is pyramids? What is meditation? Why are we doing this? What is energy? So I decided that I am going to change my life, take my power back. And it was that decision that completely changed my life 180 degrees. And I started researching more, learning more, reading books, attending workshops, doing hard math, understanding science, reading Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, all these great scientists. And also on the other side, also the magic, the mysticism. I went and did a lot of energy. I started attending the mystery schools, understanding how to work with energy, understanding the pyramid power, which is the quantum physics, is the gateway into understanding the secrets of the universe. So understanding all of that. And that's when I knew, okay, you know what? Everything I've learned through my childhood, whether we talk about pineal gland, third eye, astral traveling, dreams, time travel, teleportation, name it, all of this is actually science. It is nothing new. we knew all about it. Like in Indian mythology, you see those, even the pictures of, it's called Pushpaka Vimana. Basically, it's a flying object. The gods that we now know as Krishna or Shiva or Rama were all part of the other dimensions, part of the other densities. So this is something that I started activating, the doors connecting, and then I was like, okay, now I'm ready to start diving in deeper, and I quit my job and doing what I'm doing. And today we have a global movement teaching meditation, teaching, raising the awareness of spiritual science, becoming a spiritual scientist. Like, question everything, ask what is it, don't just accept. So it's been a roller coaster of a journey. It wasn't always like easy to get to your destination. I'm sure it was like that for you too, like hitting that rock bottom, fine, and then coming out from there, which I see is the story for for almost all the leaders that I see right now.
You are so right, Pari. I was just speaking with a friend on the terrace just before this, and we were talking about this idea of light and dark. You'll probably get a kick out of this, Pari. I'm throwing a costume party this weekend, and the theme come as your alter ego. And I have this side of me that some of us call Hulk. Like my husband will lovingly put his head on me and be like, "It's okay, big guy, the sun's going down." Or somebody lovingly suggested to me the other day, maybe you should go as Kali, and you can speak more to that. And I said, what's so interesting because people see those of us who are spiritual or meditate or do acts of kindness, whatever you might want to consider that. And what we don't understand is that those of us who have great light also have great darkness. And it's really a moment by moment choice. I had never heard this before. I was sharing with somebody about how funny and nobody was going to expect that I would come as Kali. And yet she said, it's also true because when we're revealing great amounts of light in the world, we have equal amounts of darkness. So if we're going to impact millions and millions or billion people, or whatever our goal is, we also have that yin and yang side to us. And so I would love your thoughts on that. For those of us who are trying to balance our spirituality, where we might have gone through what some would call a dark night of the soul or the transformation or near death, whatever it might be that somebody out there who's listening or watching might have gone through, how do we get ourselves through that part like you did when you went through and you realized that, oh, I don't fit in if I have these beliefs and I'm bad and wrong. So you adopt the new beliefs and you're like, oh, this is, get this off. This is not good. And then you transition back, which I really respect and admire that you were able to do that. What is your advice to other people who might be going along the path right now and confused, lonely, afraid? What do you suggest to them?
It's a great topic that you brought up, Jennifer, because I don't see a lot of even the energy workers in the spiritual world talk about this, about darkness and the light, because I see a lot about love and light, rainbows and unicorns, but it's truly this dark shadow work that is required in order to completely conquer and take our power back. And yes, because we live in this duality world, there's light and dark, male, female, good and bad. And it is about embracing, for me, it is about embracing that shadow of yours, giving love and not really, no, this is not me. This is not who I am. Dark energy has a great energy, has a great potential and power. In fact, not potential, it has great power for transformation. And of course, we have to first channel through it and embrace it and bring into light and merge it into light. And that's the energy work that I know you are very much into. And that's the work that I love to do. Even like when we, especially like women's gatherings, I do new moon gatherings or manifestation gatherings, that is bringing the dark goddess in, whether it is taking charge of your sexuality, taking charge of your inner child, taking charge of all those that emotions that we said, you know what, you're no longer welcome here. The shame, the guilt, that embarrassments, we completely shove it down somewhere deep corner within us, and we think that we are not that and put up this mask. It is about bringing that and embracing it and harnessing power through it. Whether we this is the dark goddess work, whether it is Kali, which we just mentioned earlier, the goddess Kali, or Hecate, Lilith, all these different goddesses hold the power. It is about the power to set boundaries, to set standards for yourself. You are, uh, as a queen, you're ready to be compassionate or take the heads off. When you are in that moment, you can be both, like ruthless, being ruthless and cutting the heads off. And yet, knowing that the higher consciousness, the higher good, destroying the evil is part of the game, part of the. This has been happening since like the ancient civilization. There has been wars in the skies between the good and the bad. So it is part of the game, and you are playing that part. We chose to be that part. So yes, I love that power of stepping into the queen energy and harnessing that.
Yeah, I think it gives us permission. I've been talking to a lot of coaching clients and business colleagues and friends, and I think that we feel bad or wrong. Just somebody I was on a call with in the last few days had said, "Oh, Jennifer, doesn't it mean I'm bad or wrong if I have these dark thoughts?" And you know what? No, Pari, no, to all of us out there. We are all humans. The two biggest things that I always am reminded of myself and that I often share with others, and you love it too, by the way, because if you share this with others, then when you're in your dark hole, then somebody else can share it back with you, is that
Yes,
when we get really angry or upset or frustrated or feel like we're not going to survive it, it happens to all of us, even the greatest human beings on the planet who are doing great light work, great good. The only difference is how quickly can we bounce back our consciousness? Do we let that consciousness, that darkness like night, devour us and consume all of our light? Or do we fight against the darkness? Do we prevail? And do we realize every moment if we have that negative thought, if we make a mistake, do we wallow in the shame and the guilt and the self pity and loathing? Or how quickly can we transform our consciousness, give ourselves permission to feel angry, feel sad, feel grief, whatever it might be, and then
mhm,
bounce back and choose again? And I think to me, that's the only thing that differs the further you get along this path of evolution of the self is how much time we spend in those dark places and how much time we spend in light.
absolutely. I think you are right on point. Is how quickly we enter that space and get back to our original state of being, which is to be happy, which is to feel healthy and happy. And that is our natural state. And yes, we are in this human suite. So there is that emotions. And that is why we are here. That is a choice that we make to feel those emotions. And there is a power to it. If I didn't, frustration, sitting in front of the computer in a cubicle, if I hadn't had that anger and frustration in my life, I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love that part. And it reminds me of what Neil Donald Walsh said. So, Neil and I, who's the author of Conversations with God, he'd sold millions of books around the world. I loved it when Neil joined me for a show. I think it came out in October, November, December of last year. And Neil argued with me, Pari, about in a loving way. I say argued, but in air quotes. Neil argued with me when I was talking about anger and, oh gosh, anger bad, smash anger down. No, we don't, spiritual people don't be angry. And exactly what you're saying is what Neil said. He said, Jennifer, I'll give you a great example of somebody who was angry and did accomplish a lot. And in that case, he was referencing Jesus. But there are so many evidences of people in time where we need to be shook out of our unconscious life, shaking ourselves up, shaking the world up. It's so cute. My husband has an alarm going off on his phone every day that says, shake the world up every single day. And that's in that shaking things up where newness can emerge, where we can find ourselves in that moment. And it takes that stirring, that pointing, like you said, sitting in front of the computer party and being enraged and angry at the experience of the world to take action towards something new, right?
Mhm. Yes, and I think that's where people in today's world, we are so consumed by just living in survival, getting through the day, getting through our bills, getting through our life. that we forget the magic that we hold when we surrender, when we let go, and just take a pause and really breathe in and harness that power in that moment. There are like all the spiritual scientists, great spiritual scientists have talked about the power of now. It is in that power of now, that moment, being in that authentic, fearless moment is where we harness that power. So when we own completely who we are, every emotion, being a witness, not judging, being a witness, and that is where if we can hold that moment and make a decision, is how we transform our lives. Because most often we are consumed with fear than embracing, than being a witness. And I know you are an expert in this and you teach so amazingly about this particular topic, which is the only essence of all spirituality is be in the moment, breathe in, take a pause. So I really truly admire what you're doing because this is truly how we change the world, how we change the paradigm that we are living in.
Thank you, Pari. I receive it. It's a lifelong work. I think that you and I and so many of us, millions and billions of us on the planet, it is our life's work to do together is to help ourselves wake up, to go from the unconscious to the conscious, which is why thus the name of the show regarding consciousness. So I do this show every week, Pari, for the sheer joy of bringing wisdom from people like you to the world and getting to engage to be sure that I personally am not stagnating. My intention is to uplift and inspire others not to stagnate, and also for me to walk the walk and talk the talk. Because it's one thing for you or I or anybody out there to sit on a mountain forever and not engage with people and be like, life is magical. I can fast and meditate and do all the things. And yet, you know what? It's in those moments where life happens, being human happens, where we get triggered, sad, angry, frustrated, that we have an opportunity to put into practice and to use that as the barometer for how far we've come as human beings. And to your point, Pari, that only happens in this moment and the next and the next. And on that note, Pari, I'd love to hear from you any closing thoughts or wisdom you might have that I didn't get to ask you something or something that you would like to reiterate or just intentionally share with the audience that maybe we didn't get a chance to touch on.
All I want to say is that the teacher appears when the student is ready. That is the saying from Yogananda Paramahansa, the great yogi. It is when we are ready, when we say, okay, I am ready. I am ready and I am ready to learn and ready to surrender. Is that when the magic happens in that moment? So I know we have so many today we have so much information everywhere, so much knowledge is being shared everywhere. And people do get confused about what to do, what not to do, what tool should I do, what tool should I not do. Instead of getting into that anxiety mode, reading reviews everywhere and getting crazy about that all I would ask is just lean into your heart, trust yourself, trust your intuition, know that you are the powerful source, and know that every decision you make is the right decision, and there is no wastage of time or energy because we come from abundance and we go back to abundance. Every creation, every word, every action, every thought creates abundance. So, whatever money you put in for anything always comes back to you. And when you do wrap it with love and give it because it will come back to you. So, don't worry about how much does it cost, will it give it. In general, whether it is anything, lean into your heart, make a decision because when you do it, when you expand your heart into connectedness, coming out of fear, you create more abundance. That is what you share with everyone in your life. And you operate from that space, not from a space of lack. So I want to invite today through this show everyone to come and operate from a space of abundance because you can only be one state of consciousness in the now moment. You can be in lack and abundance. It's like either you're pregnant or not pregnant. You can be somewhat pregnant. You have to be either in abundance or lack. You can be, I'm abundant here, but not here. That's not how it works. So I invite you to come and enter into that space of abundance, claim your power, and step into your purpose fearlessly in the now moment. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for this opportunity. And I really enjoy every second I get with you.
Oh, Pari, I feel the same, my friend. And I would love for anybody out there who wants to connect with you, find out about your coaching, your energy healing, PSSM, where are some of the best places for people to connect with you if they want to learn more about all of this deep wisdom you've shared today?
Absolutely. My website, paripatri.com. I am based out of California, Irvine. So I do a lot of in person sessions, retreats, and online stuff. And my Instagram is a great place to connect with me directly as well. It is called Pari Patri, Paripatri. And so, yeah, that is where you can connect with me.
Beautiful. We have had joining us today here on Regarding Consciousness, Pari Patri, sharing the wisdom of herself, the lineages that have come before her, and the incredible work that she is doing to help uplift the consciousness of humanity. I am Jennifer Cahill, and my intention for each and every one of you is that something, perhaps out of our conversation today, spoke to you at the soul level. Maybe it whispered quietly. Maybe this is the moment that Pari referred to that is giving you an opportunity to step into the greatness of who you are as a human being and to begin the healing process. Thank you for being with us.